It's a little noisy out here, but I'm on the outside of the cabin just to remind you that this is a cabin that we built with rough lumber. And so we're going to take you inside and show you some of the things that you can do with your leftovers from the rough lumber. So as we go to the inside here, you can see that the entire cabin is lined with the rough lumber all around the walls. And these are pieces that were between 3 and 4 feet tall. And we kind of looked at everything and said, okay, I think we've got enough of this size to do this, and we'll take that's not quite tall enough and use it underneath the windows, and so on and so forth. And we were able to line the entire bottom of the cabin with this. Just the pieces that were left over. And then we took a long thin strip and went above it and just made a little border that goes above it. And I'll just zoom into this a little bit and show you. And that's how we did it to finish it off. Very quick, very simple. You didn't have to do anything to it other than that. Okay, then we started thinking about how are we going to furnish the cabin. And I think I'll start right here in the kitchen. We had friends who had owned businesses, and these are cabinets from an old kitchen that was in one of their businesses. And the cabinets had been built back in the 1950s and had just been sitting in storage sheds for all of these years. And so what we did was, first of all, we roughed them up so that they wouldn't, have a finish to them. And you can see that we just kind of roughed them up good. And we wanted for them to be something that reminded us of ourselves. And this is the branding iron is what we used to make this from my husband's great-grandfather. And then we took the front of the drawers off and used pieces of lumber that were left over from our project in order to make it look more the rough look and to match. And by doing this, we were able to do these cabinets, both sets of these cabinets, and have an extra for things that we just wanted to have on hand. And then we go to a lot of consignment stores and thrift stores and that type of thing. And so we were able to accumulate pieces of old stoneware and glasses, so that when people were in here, if they open up the cabinets, then they find the things that are appropriate to the time period, the old cabinet looks. And then in order to make the tops for the cabinets, we were trying to figure out what to do. And we have a son-in-law who, some of the work jobs that he was on, they were tiling and that type of thing. So we had lots of pieces that were not necessarily matches to each other, but we were able to lay out a pattern and make the entire top for this. And I'll just show you, when I say they were not necessarily pieces that matched each other, you can see that we've just kind of taken the same idea and the same colors and been able to put them together to form a pattern. So that's what we did for that. Okay, so this is the table that we have in our cabin. And we found this tabletop and thought to ourselves, okay, it's just made out of wood. And so we roughed and scuffed this up too, so that it wouldn't just look like an outdoor table that someone had thrown away. It was only the top and didn't have a base on it. And so what we did to form the base was we took 2 regular pieces of the leftovers and we put them next to each other so that they formed a post. So a square post. And then we came up through the top of the table and we attached them with 4 long screws that went down through the table and into the posts. And then to make it decorative, we took pieces that we had to cut off because they weren't appropriate for the exterior, and we put them on the sides in order to just improve the appearance of them so it wouldn't just be a post. And then we took 4 pieces of wood and we made them all different sizes and shapes, and we made the 4 little legs that help to support this and make it so that the post is attractive and it's a cute little table that matches the house. Then we went to a consignment store and there were a couple old wooden chairs. One of the old wooden chairs had 2 arms on it and one of them had no arms on it. So we took the arms off and then we went all the way down to the wood and we sanded all of the wood on the chairs so that they looked old for the time period. And then we took the extra pieces of spindle that we had used on the upstairs loft and we used them in the center between the 2 chairs and on the arms. We cut a piece of plywood that was the appropriate shape so that it fit right on the chairs and spread them out a little bit so that we could make the settee wider. And then we just took a piece of foam and made a pad and covered it with a piece of lace so that we had 2 extra chairs. One thing that we started finding is when we were looking for wood pieces to go in the cabin, we found these at consignment stores. And these are pieces of furniture that were apparently made by the same company as each other. There's also another one back there by the bed, a small one. There's one upstairs. And then we found a set of bunk beds made by the same company. So I'm just going to show you the frame on the bunk beds. Was like this, a post, then with sideboards. And we were just thinking about putting the set of bunk beds upstairs in the loft, but it was far too tall to fit into the loft. It was really quite huge. And so we started by cutting the 2 beds apart, and the bottom and the top, both of them were more than double what we have left on this. And so we thought to ourselves, okay, so there's more than what we need for just 2 beds, 2 twin-size beds. And we ended up with 4 because we had the posts and the sideboards. And then all we had to do was just add frames for supporting the mattresses for 2 of them. And we ended up with 4 twin-size beds. And then we purchased a little appliance that you could put in between the 2 twin-size beds and make a king-size bed. So right now what we have in the cabin are 2 twin-size beds and a king-size bed, and all of them were made from 1 set of bunk beds. All right, so what I'm telling you is just that you need to learn to take a look at what you have and see it for something different than what it is. In addition, on the insides, we didn't buy frames or make expensive looking frames. We used the extra pieces of the board for like the shelves on the windows and to surround the windows. And then we did things like this, taking the boards and making shelves, just a shelf that looked like it would be right for the time period. And then we put old things that we found at the consignment stores, you know, old locks, old drills, old, you know, hand tools, those kind of things. And we put them up on the wall to add to the ambiance. And then our kids said to us, well, there are going to be some people that, yeah, it's nice to be in a cabin, but you're going to want to have a TV and you're going to want to have some movies that kids can watch and that type of thing. And so we built another different kind of shelf as a stand so that we could do that. You can also gather interesting pictures from places that you've been, and these were old. I got the reflection on it. These were just old pictures that I had taken in places that we had visited of old towns, and they turned out really cute. We just put them in a frame and off we went. So those are just a few of the ideas on how to accumulate the things that you need and be able to do it so that it doesn't cost you a lot of money. I will tell you that I also have used eBay. We used eBay for things like the upstairs windows there. There's kind of stained glass windows, but they're not the colored ones. Let's see, let me just show you here. Okay, that have the leaded panels between them. And I also got the door to the outside with the same type of design so that they would match. And then we took pieces from my husband's great-grandparents' cabin that had been taken off of their cabin, and we used them above our door and our windows. So just by keeping your eye open, you're able to find a lot of things that can help give you the appearance that you want. Hope that's been helpful. We'll see you next time.